What's up, you beautiful bastards? So, tell me, have you ever witnessed this magnificence as a kid? Well, I think it's obvious that I have, and it made my blood boil like lava back in the days. This embodiment of coolness has inspired me so much that with my boys we even tried to recreate it IRL, but the limitations of our corporeal prison made it to look something like this. So we've abandoned the idea. Alas, the hope still lived inside of me, so to get even a hint of the SEMA-flavored high of watching Naruto fights, but elsewhere, I turned myself to the medium of computer games, yet with no real success. The Naruto ones were okay, but I don't know, they couldn't really give me that authentic pubertal violence that the anime gave. Ninja Gaidens, MGSs were all well and good, but damn! It didn't really hit the spot. I have almost forgotten that I've become so numb vibe. But then I met this game. And yeah, this video is not on the subject of whether this game is good or not. It's good, give it a try. Yet even with all of the pros, I can't really understand it in some places. And pointing an index finger onto the bad parts of games is the main occupation of the internet clowns like me. So let us do a little bit of that. But before we'll do it, the sweet YouTube conversion demands for videos to be lengthy. So I'll tell you a little about the setting of the game. Buckle up. The whole affair takes place in feudal Japan, in the land of Ashina. 20 years prior to the game, the aforementioned lands were under control of the Interior Ministry. The bad baddies who would allow people of Ashina to drink the holy Gatorade which flows in the whole region and makes wonders to your skin, I suppose. So the angry, unwished masses under the leadership of Ishin Ashina, the Silver Saint, whacked those bastards hard and retook the land. The war has left many urchins, and we're lucky enough to become one of them. An old shinobi owl found us on one of the battlefields and took under his patronage. He became our father and sensei, gave us the name Wolf. Under his guidance we've passed the Chunin exam and gotten pinned to a boy under the name the Divine Heir, a kid in whose veins the holy Gatorade is so concentrated that it can even grant immortality. But before we pledge our allegiance, the ninja puppy kindly reminds us of who is the real boss of the gym and that his will stays above even our oath to the boyo. Hope this won't put us into any funny situations in the future. Anyways, everything begins on a day where we fucked the only job that was given to us. The Divine Heir is caught by the very bad guys, we sit literally in a well, and don't even have a sword to make their guts into bolognese. Some mysterious figure drops us a thing to help to find the boy, so we settle the horses on our quest to win the kid back. What was really interesting to me at first, tutorial, in a From Software game. Well, People change, I guess. Not to mention that many Souls fans are fucking locked only on Souls games. So maybe Mr. Miyazaki was kind enough to teach the barbarians some groundbreaking new gameplay mechanics like stealth, parkour, and plain fucking jumping. Now I get that this game was experimental, so the Mr. Suffer You cocksucker has shown some compassion and played safe here. Eventually we get to the little man. He gives us an option of making our existence even more insufferable. No thank you. Gives us our blade back, and now we can do what all shinobis are good at. A very stylish carnage. We whack a few ambassadors of Japanese high feudal fashion, and here we go. The first teeny tiny boss. You see, when I've played that for the first time, I was fucking flabbergasted by the combat mechanics. A friend of mine told me before that you need to always parry in order to exchange blows effectively, so holy fucking moly, it became poetry from the beginning. It was so fucking fluid, so, I don't know, visceral. As if I would really sweat and wait and try hard in real life, but it still wasn't a NarutoAMV moment, to be honest. Yet. At the end of the first area we met him, Genichiro, and here begins this anime shit that all of us love so much. Step aside! No, I will protect my master! Everything is illuminated by the full moon and whole fight finds itself in a field of flowers. Damn, I'm a sucker for such things, what can I say? If for the first time you've stayed against this motherfucker for more than 5 seconds, a medal of honor to you. I think I was whacked in 3. This fight is impossible to win anyway. And I'm sorry, maybe it's some nerdy shit, but check out how our shinobi takes his blade out. We can even see how rusty and unsure his movements are. I freaking love the details here. Nonetheless, one card hand later, Wolf wakes up in a middle-aged Japan equivalent of a rich weeaboo apartment, with all of them figurines scattered around him, and finds out that his hand has turned into 15-1 screwdriver. The guy who did this wild DIY on us puts the facade of being tired of life and angry and miserable, but we all know that he's a cutie patootie inside. And a cutie patootie he is, he tells us where to look for the boy. The second interesting character, a guy who somehow became immortal, so out of boredom he would happily take a few inches of our katana under his ribs. I love the fact that combat tutorial in this game is very logical from a lore perspective. It's always nice to see the game conventions being somehow explained in the universe of the game. And holy fuck did this game need a combat tutorial. Here begins the game mechanics rambling, so I warned you. As already mentioned, this game was an experiment in the Soulsborne series. Normally in DS you could pick up any twig and slam it over your enemy's head. It made From Software games very veritable from a player's build perspective, but it meant that any kind of enemies should be able to be overwhelmed by any kind of weapon, limiting their speed and aggressiveness very much. It made gameplay options as broad as a sea with all of that multi-classing and almost infinite amount of weapons, but as deep as a puddle, because making a really deep combat system for each of the options would mean going fucking rabid from the amount of work that has to be done. Nobody needs that shit. In Sekiro, we mainly have only one way of breaking people's skulls: katana. And here is where the devs had a whole blast. You see, with the limitations of DS, the whole game almost completely revolves around a build that I call the roller. Are you a giant brute with a sword that looks like a chunk of iron? Fat roll the fuck out of enemies' way. Are you a light bleeder type? Fast roll the fuck out of enemies' way. Mage? Roll plus run plus cast your pussy ass spells from distance. At the end of the day, the biggest problem here would be the stamina management, because there are almost no attacks from which you can pull away. Sekiro spat on the concept of stamina, because we're a ninja for fuck's sake. A normal NarutoAMV takes around 3 to 4 minutes of intense close quarter violence. ninjas are beasts when it comes to stamina. In this game, enemies don't need to play a paralyzed person because you've decided to face them with a fucking pizza tower at your hand. Now they can be more treacherous and fast, and what's a better way to avoid a fast katana slash, a whole biggest roll to the side, or a lightning fast wrist twitch? Parry came into the main focus of the game, and with endless stamina and ability to rain enemies with your attacks, there should have been a limitation put on at least something, so the fights wouldn't turn into an endless back and forth loop. That's where concentration system comes to play. Concentration is that thing in the middle that you and your foes have. It shows how many blows you can parry before your hands would give up. Concentration scale is also tightly connected to the good old health bar. So the less health you have, the less concentrated you are, the less blows you're able to parry. There is also a gradation of how much concentration you lose through different activities. Block depletes the bar almost instantly, but staying in defensive pose without receiving any damage restores it rapidly. A successful dodge or jump doesn't require any concentration to be used, yet the unsuccessful execution of such things ends up in a blade inside your stomach, which leads to less HP, which is sad, and means less concentration as a consequence. Same applies to our enemies as well. So at the end of the day, there are 4 ways to meet a blow: jump, strafe, block, and parry. But you can expect that each attack could be overcome by all of those ways. Thrust attacks can only be blocked through Mikiri counter, an ability that you can get almost at the beginning of the game. Yet another way of interacting with a blow, by the way. The vertical slash attacks and grabs can only be dodged, the diagonal ones jumped over. Each of the following special moves are highly accented by a gigantic sign, which is different for each attack, but I presume you don't really know Moonspeak. Me either. So we can just identify the type of attack by the enemy's movement. There are, of course, a lot of attacks that Wolf himself can perform, but most of them are staying behind a grind brick wall, we'll come to that later. And the pace of the game wouldn't allow anything more than a few sneaky slashes into an opening of your enemy. So you wouldn't really use anything else than the good old 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All of that info could be absorbed through this titan of a man, by the way. Thank God for the immortal helmet inside of him. So yeah, here we come to the problems of the game. When I saw all of those possibilities, reactive gameplay, how well it works with bosses and in one-on-one combat, I was surprised. Then I went outside and got gangbanged by these beautiful fellas. This threw me off a little, but I went on. Knowing that I'm a shinobi, I tried to use stealth, and well, I tried to think of stealth here as something that was added just to tick the ninja box. The NPCs are dumb as hell, but honestly maybe it's for the better. Then I met this magnificent fella, and let me fucking say, this cocksucker twisted my balls like no one else, and I mean it. I was sweating like a swine to get to kill this motherfucker, and it felt good, not gonna lie, but this guy was put as a wall to stop you. What you actually had to do, according to Miyazaki's plan, is to try him out a little, then get a hint of those guys nearby talking of how creatures with red eyes are afraid of fire, get to understand that you don't have fire, take a bell from this woman, go back to our Buddha fan, teleport back in time, and in your memory get a flamethrower to fuck this bitch up. Mr. Miyazaki, with all due respect, it doesn't work like this. We kill him, get a piece of brain beads, which in combo with 3 others makes our health and concentration bar a little more imposing, and move on. And right after my ass was split into 2, this shit happens on the way. I fucking swear, this location gives me this vibe. After being already gangbanged a few times, I was in question about the credibility of this combat system working outside of duels. But this situation made me question it even more. Our target, big bad samurai surrounded by them. And we need to kill this bitch because he has a praying bead which makes our immune system strong enough to take a few more knives into our stomach. What can we do? We can use this stupid ass boring stealth, taking these uninteresting fuckers out one by one to get a normal ass cool duel. You can charge in and get fucked, or you can ignore this place, yet your honor and plus HP bonus wouldn't really allow that, eh? Dumb as hell, but whatever. One more problemo, the prosthetic arm. Don't get me wrong, I think it's cool as hell, but in my opinion it used wrongly to glue that Frankenstein of a game together and make you do the most unspeakable thing in video games ever. Grind. The arm is very versatile, it has dozens upon dozens of upgrades, but how can you get all of them? Through either being gangbanged or doing the most uninteresting stealth in the universe. Those are the only options to get the needed amounts of cram to make your screwdriver do magic. Oh, you want to use your prosthetic arm after all of that mambo jumbo? Suck my balls. You need to farm fucking spirit emblems as well to do so. It's Sekiro currency that you use for special moves or something. Well, at least the game teaches you about investing with them gold punches that can preserve the money you could lose after knocking on heaven's door. But this shit is fucking stressful as well because you need to identify a merchant, get to him each time you have enough shekels, the number of pouches is limited, so eventually you have to grind again, but on your fucking tippy toes all the time because you bought every fucking pouch from every fucking merchant. I mean, I would love to use the arm, for example, but from the beginning it became clear that you need to grind, so I said hell no, it smells like dick, I don't want it, and manhandled the whole game without it. Why would you hide the fucking thing that sold this game to so many people behind a grind wall? At the end of the game, when I had a shit ton of them emblems, I didn't want to use them, because I somehow managed till there. I wouldn't change my playstyle at the end of the game that fucking twisted my balls like a fucking Italian mafioso. And shit like this is almost everywhere. You have a whole roster of cool moves and upgrades, but firstly, you can't really see what you buy, so either you're a psychic that can read thoughts of people that wrote those descriptions, or you play a fucking gamble. Secondly, usage of many special moves costs fucking emblems, and emblems mean tiers, boredom tiers. The progression of your attack arsenal is also kinda dumb. Why some really good moves could be spammed like nothing and some dumbass ones require soul emblems. Why there is no preview for them? Why can't I get a move that I want without unlocking some of the traits that are not fucking even related to it? You also need to farm XP points to get the upgrades, but you can't pick them up in case you fucked up like in Soulsborne's. No, the god of fucking betting decides a percentage of a chance with which you could keep them. Whew, I think I'm done with my rant. And even with all of that bravado, this game is still so goddamn brilliant. The art style, the story, the pace and movement, and the best thing, this game has completely captured the I feel so numb vibe, and here is why. Look at those movements, what do you see? Why does it look so dynamic and somehow believable? Because most of the time they block. The fights here are reactive, not proactive. When a blow lands, you feel the weight behind it, because it happens rarely. This is what we see in real fights, for example, where 80% of the fights is defense, blocking, strafing, parrying, just like in those NarutoAMVs, minus jutsus. And just like in Sekiro, here you need to react. The acting needs to be earned. Either it's an opening in a defense or a few frames between the blows, but in its essence it's a riddle you have to solve, not a stylish button mashing of DMC, for example. In Sekiro, if you're experienced enough, you yourself can turn your fight into a stylish anime AMV. And when I, for the first time, got into the flow of combat with Genichiro, I felt the exact same devilish surge of pleasure that I got being 10 watching those AMVs. And it was fucking primal.
It starts with
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away, it's so unreal. Didn't look out below, watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
You know, at the beginning I wanted to cover the whole game and bosses and shit, but I don't want to steal maybe the best gaming experience you could possibly have, if you like me, a fan of Asian animation and a masochist. I have already spoiled one of the coolest fights in the game. Here is one more spoiler. Remember how Sekiro used to hold his sword the first time he met this motherfucker? This is how he holds it when we meet Genichiro for the third time. Sure and ready. Cool teeny tiny detail, eh? Thank you peeps for spending your never-returning precious time here. Live a lizard, press the subhuman button, all of that jazz. If you enjoyed the vid, let me know. Maybe I could spit some more Sekiro stuff out. Stay tuned, because there is more to come. I love you. Have a good one.